Alright, it is 5 a.m. and I'm headed to see sunset on the east side. Alright, it is 5:34 and I made it to the east side. So it's about 30 minutes before sunrise and let's go check it out. Okay, I just finished watching the sunrise. It was really pretty this morning and really not crowded. Super early in the morning, but it started getting a little more crowded as I was leaving. It's like 6:45 now and I'm gonna get headed back to home because it is a Monday. So I have some work that I need to do. But yeah, great way to start the day. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend and are having a really good day. Sending positive vibes out to all of you guys because it's that time of the year, that time of the semester where like everything's wrapping up and everything's really crazy, at least for me as a grad student. All right, so I am actually back in California. I made a very last minute trip here and I wanted to get on with my story. So the whole point of this video is that I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about my journey to where I am now as far as a PhD student and how I got to being a PhD student studying biological oceanography at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. So I am getting to around the end of my third year here. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. But I guess thinking back about how I got to where I am now from undergrad, I guess I've always been really interested in science and really liked biology specifically. So I kind of figured that out in high school. Did like an IB program where my two like major or higher level topics were math and science. So really liked science, specifically biology, not really chemistry or physics or anything like that, but really liked biology. And I think it's because I really liked animals. So I liked the more like wildlife biology stuff. Not really like the health track to become a doctor or something like that. More like I wanted to study animals or like be around animals and nature. So I think at some point in middle school, I got really into snakes and reptiles. So this is kind of like through my dad and taking trips to the desert with him to just kind of go hike and look for snakes, road cruising, stuff like that. So we did weekend trips to Arizona. Later, bigger trips like to Australia when I was in high school and the Galapagos Islands, you know, to see the marine iguanas and yeah, kind of just traveling to cool places in search of cool reptiles, specifically snakes, but also lizards and other stuff like amphibians and stuff like that. So that's kind of when I like really fell in love with the idea of studying herpetology, which is the study of reptiles and amphibians, as like a potential career path. I think because I really liked being around animals, liked the idea of doing science, and this was something that would allow me to like travel to cool places and stuff, potentially, doing field work and stuff. So this ultimately led to me deciding to go to University of Arizona in Tucson, Arizona, because for those of you that don't know, Arizona is like a really amazing hotspot for reptile diversity and stuff, like so many different kind of snake species out there, really cool ones, tons of rattlesnakes, and like really interesting animals, I think. So I think we knew a few people that had maybe graduated from the University of Arizona and were doing like herpetology work now. So that's kind of why I thought like this would be a good school. So I started there in 2015 and ended up choosing, I think, wildlife conservation as my major, and then quickly realized, like, actually, that's not the right major. The right major for me was Ecology and Evolutionary Bio. So I think wildlife conservation is more focused on, like, people that want to go into science outreach or, like, working at zoos and aquariums, or working, what is it called, at like national parks and stuff, or like recreation places, stuff like that. That's kind of what I think of the people that went into like wildlife conservation versus ecology and evolutionary biology, which is very much like research focused and, you know, focused around the ecology of animals, so how they interact with others and their environment, and also the evolutionary bio. So, you know, like, how do things evolve over time? Yeah, so many things. I'm doing a bad job explaining evolutionary bio right now, but that's okay. So yeah, ecology and evolutionary bio just really set me up with like foundations in biology that I'm using now. Really good choice. And I was also able to get into doing undergrad research very, very early, actually. So I think when I was a sophomore, like first semester sophomore in undergrad, a TA in an intro bio class that I had reached out to me and asking if I would like to do a, like, what do you call it? Where you like get credit for working or volunteering in a lab for a certain number of hours a week. I think it was probably like 9 hours a week. And this was a plant ecology and evolutionary lab. So I was working with plants, not animals, but I just saw this as like a first step, or like foot in the door into what I was trying to do. So I really liked doing this plant stuff. It was a little bit of like greenhouse experiments, as well as like seed counting, stuff like that, and even some molecular techniques. So that's where I learned like DNA extractions, PCR, and running gels, all stuff that I do now. So that's kind of cool that I started doing it way back then. I think at some point I must have also been a sophomore, maybe just a little bit later. I heard about this reptile project that was coming out, specifically working with lizards, and I wasn't really interested in lizards as much as I was snakes, but I also saw this as like, oh, this is someone's lab that I could potentially be working in, even though I'm not like that interested in lizards and the project. I decided to like interview and apply for it because I thought there was a chance I could get onto a cooler project where I can work with snakes and all of that. So I worked on the lizard project, I think for a year, or at least a semester, something like that. But we studied the urban ecology of lizards, specifically 3 lizards that were found on the University of Arizona campus. And we kind of compared them to less urbanized sites a little bit off campus. So we looked at like their home range sizes, how far they travel, their like behaviors and stuff like that. Really cool project. I mostly did surveys and a little bit of radio telemetry. So that's when we put like little trackers on the lizards and follow them around certain times during the day and just watch what they do. I did a lot of lizard stuff for a while, and then this was perfect because it was a lab that was doing exactly what I wanted to be doing, urban ecology mostly of reptiles. So after the lizard project, I was able to switch onto his snake project, which was like the coolest thing, like exactly what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be doing, what I thought I wanted to be doing as a career at the time. So yeah, I like really lucked out with this, and I worked on the lizard project I think all of my junior and senior year, and also a year after. So I got like really into the project, I think I also helped out with lizards occasionally, but I was mostly doing snake surveys on a golf course and also looking at effects of urbanization, because these are golf courses in the middle of the desert with, like, you know, grass and just water supplementation and stuff like that. A lot of rodents around the golf course because there was more water and more like plants and primary productivity and stuff because of the water supplementation. But there are also people living on the golf course and, you know, people around the golf course, so their interaction with humans was much greater than if they were anywhere else in the middle of the desert. So we're like attracting all of these reptiles here because there's like increased food and stuff, but we're also increasing interactions and maybe like getting hit by cars and stuff like that we're driving around. So we looked at a few different rattlesnakes and all of the other snakes that were on the golf course. And yeah, I really enjoyed that project. I think that's when I just realized that I really loved doing that kind of field work, but I also really liked the research component of it. So I liked the lab work. I liked being in the lab as an undergrad a lot. Like, I never minded having to be there long hours and stuff. Same with the plant stuff, even though it wasn't like something I was really interested in. I liked the science behind it and the asking questions, designing experiments, getting to do all of the lab work. With the snake and lizard project, I was able to go a little bit deeper into like actually looking at the results, doing some analysis, working on a discussion, and presenting these results at different conferences and stuff. I kind of forget how many, but I think I did at least like 3 poster presentations and maybe 2 or 3 actual talks at conferences. I also got invited to the Netherlands during my gap year to give a talk on the snake project, which was really awesome. And I feel like all of these poster and oral presentations, talks and stuff really made me a good candidate for applying to grad school because I already had all of this research experience, lab experience, transferable skills, right? I practiced speaking about my research and presenting it to others. I also worked on writing some manuscripts a little, so at least 1 snake and 1 Gila monster manuscript that are still unpublished, actually. So maybe that'll get published someday, maybe not, but you know, I at least went through the whole process of being a scientist and stuff for the very first time, and I really enjoyed it. All of it, actually. So that whole experience of working in the lizard and snake lab really, like, I guess solidified that I did actually want to go to grad school to continue doing the exact same stuff, but in more detail and like learning how to become an independent scientist and everything. So I liked doing the science and I also liked communicating the science. So yeah, I think that's what made me realize that I really wanted to go to grad school. But when I was applying to grad school, so I took a gap year because I found it very difficult to work on applications and reaching out to professors and finding programs all at the same time while like finishing up my senior year and senior thesis and stuff. So I ended up needing my gap year to take time to really like search for programs and apply to everything, talk to professors. So I really liked the gap year. I thought it gave me time to just work on research and stuff to become like an even better applicant for grad school. And when I was applying, I don't really know how this came up, but I kind of like made the switch that I didn't want to stick with herpetology in grad school. Like, I liked it, but kind of felt like I wanted to do something different. And that's how marine biology or marine science came into play. I think, you know, I really liked working with snakes and stuff, but it was also in the middle of the desert. So I kind of wanted to find different organisms and like ecosystems that I can work in. And I've always kind of been interested in marine science, I guess just at an early age, you know, growing up by the ocean and stuff, going to the aquarium, stuff like that. And I think at some point when I was in Tucson, actually, at the University of Arizona, I took some marine ecology, like conservation course, because we had a marine science minor at the University of Arizona. And a lot of the classes overlapped with my ecology and evolutionary biology major. So I figured, yeah, these sound like some of the best courses out there. I really liked ecology and conservation, so this marine ecology and conservation class was perfect. I learned so much, mostly about like bycatch, the vaquita, which is a small porpoise that is probably extinct by now in the Gulf of California, I believe. What else did I learn about? I learned about like sustainable fisheries and stuff. Maybe a little bit about like plastic pollution and stuff. Surprisingly, nothing about deep sea mining at the time. So that's not where like deep sea mining came up. But anyway, I took this class and really enjoyed learning about everything I was learning. I also liked that the class assigned like scientific papers that we had to read. We also had to do like our own experiments and stuff. And I took a course by the same professor where we went to the Galapagos Islands for like a summer, and we had to watch animals, pick one that was really interesting to us, ask questions about certain behaviors, form an experiment, collect results, and present it all in a summer. So I ended up doing it on marine iguanas, right? Because marine stuff and reptiles, so it was kind of perfect. And yeah, I just really enjoyed all of the marine science classes that I was taking. I took oceanography, an ocean sciences class that had like field trips to San Diego and Southern California oceans and stuff. And yeah, I think that kind of pushed me a little bit towards sticking with like marine biology as a graduate school like program or broader topic. So once I decided that I was going to leave herpetology behind and look for PhD programs in marine science, that's kind of when I learned the difference between, you know, marine science, marine biology, marine ecology, and oceanography. I actually wasn't really looking at any oceanography programs, I think, until I talked to a professor at Hawaii that was doing deep sea research that I really liked. And that's when he told me that we can either apply through like marine bio or oceanography, but that they are both really, really similar. So what I learned, or what I gathered from that, was that marine biology was a little bit more focused on like the organism and the biology and maybe ecology of the organism, but oceanography is more focused on like how the organism interacts with its physical environment. So that's a big thing there. Oceanography also was a little bit of a better choice like financially. So I kind of learned that there is a preference towards giving TA-ships and stuff to oceanography students. That's kind of what like influenced my decision to go into oceanography rather than marine biology. That's kind of why I got into oceanography. And I guess how I found my program, I was looking at all of the schools kind of that I wanted to apply to, looking at their websites, projects, labs, stuff like that. I was also reading like papers about marine ecology to kind of figure out what the most important and like current issues were. Oh, I was also like really interested in like coral reefs and coral acidification, or like ocean acidification and coral bleaching, because this is a topic that I learned about so much in my marine ecology courses. So I was looking at programs for that, and I think that's kind of how I just stumbled upon deep sea mining. And then I was like, wow, this is awesome, because deep sea bio seems so cool. There's so many unknown or undescribed diversity, like that would be a perfect project. And because it was like really current, yeah, I thought I should definitely be a applying to labs that did that. And I also wanted to mention that I was a little bit more interested in open ocean ecology or oceanography rather than anything that was like coastal or intertidal. So that's kind of how I like narrowed down my searches and stuff. And yeah, then I applied to so many different programs like marine genomics and stuff. I like put out a lot of applications and like for a lot of different labs doing different things, and luckily I got into University of Hawaii and I got contacted by my current PI telling me that she was interested and was wondering, you know, she said I was interested in a lot of like potential projects, so she was asking how I felt about the deep sea mining one and studying zooplankton ecology specifically. And yeah, to me it was perfect. Like, I didn't really think about zooplankton all that much when I was applying, I think. You know, I was thinking more about like fish or bigger things, not so much zooplankton. But I'm very, very happy where I ended up, and yeah, now I'm learning so much about the importance of zooplankton and how they're going to be impacted by deep sea mining if it happens. So yeah, I guess the moral of the story is that it was not a clear path at all. Like, I thought I was interested in one thing, but then I kind of just like went all over the place. Like, right, oh, I like this, I'm kind of interested in this, so I'll take more marine classes, but I'm also still doing my snake stuff. And then yeah, just like following your curiosities, I guess, and it changes so much, so it's okay to go like a little bit off course even though that's not what you like initially planned for or envisioned. I thought I was going to be a paleontologist studying like fossils and dinosaurs when I was little. So I guess I didn't end up that far away from it, but you know, it did change. And yeah, a second really important thing I think is to like think of everything as like, you know, just an experiment or like a learning opportunity, right? Because I wasn't really interested in plants, but I could have been. I didn't know until like I started working in the lab. And then I found out that there were certain things like molecular techniques or lab work that I really enjoyed, but maybe I wanted to like study a different organism completely. But yeah, or like if I would have said no to working with lizards just because I didn't really like lizards, I would have never found the snake project, right? So just being open to opportunities, especially as an undergrad, because I think it's just so important that you go and like get the lab experience, get the research, public speaking, presenting, outreach, and all of that. So yeah, that's how I got into my PhD program in oceanography. Please let me know if you guys enjoyed this type of video and if we should do more a little bit unedited, just like talking to you videos like this. If we should do more in the future. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get back to hanging out with my family. We have dinner in a little bit. So yeah, give this video a big like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment if you have any questions at all. Send me a message on Instagram, and I'll also do my best to reply to all of those if you guys have any questions or need any help with grad school things. Peace.